Hey, it's Clay. I'm back with another video. This is part 2 in my series about rebuilding this Epiphone valve Junior into a Fender 5 F2A Princeton circuit. And I want to talk about step 1, and that is how to even get to the point where you can safely modify a tube amp. This could apply to any project. If you want to mod or build an amp, knowing how to safely discharge the capacitors is an essential step. So I want to show you how I do it and what works for me. So let's start off with some of the tools that you need. Number 1 is a multimeter. I got this one from Radio Shack a while ago. It's pretty cheap, but it works. You need a voltage setting like this, and then you've got the 2 leads to be able to test voltage. One of the things that I think is really helpful is I actually really like having a clip instead of this point for the ground. The clip looks like this, and so, but this will work. And all you got to do to use this is this amp is not on, by the way. I've already discharged it, but just to show you how I would do it anyways. You need to take this in and you want to put it up against the chassis. The chassis is grounded, so you can see right there, it's just pointing against the chassis, which is ground. Black is going to negative, which is ground. And then you take your red end and stick it on voltage. Take your red end, holding the insulated part, and start touching these components. Nothing is going to read right there. You can see there's no voltage. Specifically, I'm looking, you see this guy right here, these 3? These are the filter capacitors. They are the ones that are primarily going to store the voltage. And so I'll just go around watching the multimeter, touching different components. And the idea is that if the amp were to be plugged in and turned on, you would see a voltage, a current going through these components. That's a helpful thing because then you know when it is not safe to touch the amp. If you read a current, you should not touch the amp. It is dangerous. So then what you can do, if that is the case, is you need to take another tool. Now I made this myself. I went to Radio Shack and bought some basic components. But this is what I use, this little guy right here. It's kind of janky looking, but it works. This is an alligator clip. It's black. I soldered it to a wire. Clip this on here. Then on this side, in the middle of this wire, under this tape here, I have a resistor. I believe it's a 1/2 watt resistor, so you need it to be relatively big. Some of the little, like these little guys right here, that are like, what, 1/4, 1/8 watt? Those won't really do it. You want to get a big, beefy resistor. I think about 10K. It doesn't really matter what the value is. And I soldered it in between these wires, and I covered it in duct tape. Or not electrical tape. And then I ran another wire to this hot component. And then just for safety's sake, I have this pencil. To my understanding, plastic is not conductive, but I could be wrong. A wooden pencil, I think, is maybe even a better choice. Because wood, I believe, for sure does not conduct electricity. But, so what I do with this is I would take this and I would hook it onto one of the legs of these components. Like that. And so what that's going to do is it's going to filter any of the remaining electricity through the resistor to ground. And then you can actually take this guy out, do this test again, put the black on the chassis, the red on the components, and you can see if you have a voltage. And you should be able to watch it burn down to 0 if you're doing it quickly enough. The resistor is important because if you have no resistor, then all of the voltage will instantaneously go to ground and it might cause a spark or a pop. So the resistor just makes it extra safe. So, yeah, you can build a tool like this at home relatively easily and safely modify or build or check your tube amps. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon.